Hey guys, today's video is going to be my first pregnancy update. So I'm going to tell you all about my first trimester. We're going to talk about the symptoms, how this pregnancy has been different than the previous pregnancies, and what has helped me get through it. If you are new here and this is your first time, welcome. My name is Sharice and I make videos about pregnancy, motherhood, and lifestyle. If you like this video, be sure to give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and give me a comment down below because I would love to have you part of my new YouTube family. So without further ado, let's get into the recap. Okay, so this pregnancy has been like no other pregnancy I've experienced before. And I know they say that each pregnancy can be different, but this one, it's completely different. There was a lot of similarities in my other pregnancies. In this one, like some of the symptoms I was having, I never experienced before. So it was just a complete different experience. And I've been taking notes this entire trimester. I'm actually 14 weeks today, but I found out, actually, if you haven't checked out my first video about how I found out I was pregnant, I will link that in the description box below. Be sure to check it out because I found out, long story short, I found out because I was sick. I didn't know if it was COVID or food poisoning, a stomach bug. I just knew something wasn't right, and turned out to be a baby. So yeah, the symptoms that I was having, because I've never experienced them before, pregnancy was the last thing that crossed my mind. I'm like, no, I'm not pregnant. It has to be something else. So I found out I was pregnant at 6 weeks, which is typically a little late for me because I am really good at tracking my period, and once my period's when it's in a flow, like after having a baby or whatever, it's pretty consistent. So after a few days after a missed period, I'm like, all right, let's go take a test. However, I had not gotten a period yet because we had a miscarriage 2 months prior. So again, pregnancy was the last thing that was on my mind. So some of my initial symptoms, I had stomach pains, cramping, spotting, food aversions, headaches, and yeast infections. And with the cramping and the spotting and the yeast infections, I had scheduled an appointment with my doctor because I was trying to, get that taken care of and see what was going on because, again, I'd had the miscarriage and I wasn't sure, was this kind of like a period or, what is this? So I scheduled the appointment with my doctor, and it was actually the first appointment since before the miscarriage. So I was definitely overdue for the appointment. So I get to the office and the door is shut. So I'm knocking, hello, is anyone in there? And they open the door and say that they sent out a message earlier in the day saying that all appointments need to be rescheduled because they were closing for the day. And I'm like, what? So I pulled my phone out, I ain't got no message from nobody, no text message, no nothing. And she's like, yeah, sorry, but we sent out a message and sorry you didn't get it, whatever. So after a while I did find the message. But the thing that really upset me about this doctor's office is that when you have an appointment, they make sure that you confirm that you're coming. So why? I just wish they would have confirmed that I got the message that the appointments are going to be canceled, because sometimes it's like, okay, reply with a 2 saying that you're coming, or 1 you can't make it, whatever. Why couldn't they do that with the canceling of my appointment? So anyway, get back to the car, and I guess emotional was another symptom because this made me extremely upset, and I called my husband crying because I was just frustrated. 1, because I had to go to this appointment and they canceled it and I didn't know. 2, because I was tired of dealing with this yeast infection and I just needed something. And my birthday weekend was coming up, so I wasn't trying to be dealing with nothing during that weekend. So I went to Target and I just got some over-the-counter meds and treated the yeast infection with the medicine from Target. And the cramping and spotting was kind of coming and going, but my main concern was the yeast infection. So fast forward to about a week and a half, the symptoms that I was having started getting worse, and I ended up in the hospital, and that's when I found out that I was pregnant. Again, make sure you check out my first video about how I found out I was pregnant. But after I found out, it was kind of like a relief that it wasn't anything else, like a stomach bug or COVID or anything like that. We were definitely shocked, but I'm glad it wasn't, like a sickness or anything. So after I found out on Christmas, and Christmas Eve going into Christmas, I was at the hospital 12 hours. Long story. But after I came home, I felt better, a little better for like the day, and that was it. So I woke up with the kids on Christmas. We opened gifts together, and I ate Christmas dinner, which was like one of the first things I've eaten in a very long time. So I was feeling good just for the day. And then it seems like as soon as Christmas was over, the symptoms started coming back. But thankfully, Chris started his Christmas break from work, so he was home with me and he was able to help out a lot, which was super helpful. But for those next 2 weeks, it's like the symptoms kind of 10x'd. I have never been that sick ever. I was having a hard time eating. I actually lost 5 pounds in those 2 weeks, and I was really I was down bad. And Chris was actually planning to go to Germany way before I found out that I was pregnant. So I'm sick, and then I'm also worried, like, okay, how am I going to do this if you're not going to be here? But right before he was getting ready to leave, I started feeling better again. I'm like, okay, maybe we can do this. So he actually left from Pittsburgh. So we traveled to Pittsburgh to spend some time with our family up there. And we got there, everything was great. His mom made us some food when we got there. I ate it all up. The next morning, Chris had to go to a training. His mother went to work, and I woke up so sick. Like, this is the sickest I've been throughout this entire time. I could barely move. So I'm in the bed, I think it was a Friday, and I was really just struggling, not even knowing how I was going to be able to take care of this child of mine for the day, because trying to keep a toddler contained in one room, and the TV shows, it was working for a little bit, but after a while I'm like, okay, I can't do this, I need some help. Thankfully, my aunt was there at the house as well, so I called her and I'm like, Aunt Gwenny, are you busy? Can you help me out, because I'm really sick and I could really use some help with the baby, so please. And it was not a problem. She came in, got the baby, and I tried to go to sleep. She brought me some tea, crackers, fruit. I couldn't eat any of it. I was able to drink some of the tea, and I also took some Tylenol because my head was killing me. But I spent the entire time that I was in Pittsburgh just like on my deathbed. Seriously, I've never felt this sick ever. And Chris and I decided that we were going to wait to announce our pregnancy. But the way I was at his mom's house, I remember texting him saying, you know what, I'm just going to tell her. So when she came home from work, she was asking, what's going on with you? And I'm like trying to hold a smile back because I know what's going on, but I'm still sick at the same time. And I'm like, I don't know, like just turning away, not trying to make eye contact. And eventually she's like, are you pregnant again? I'm like, yeah, I am. So that's how my mother-in-law found out. So the day that Chris left, I was starting to feel better. I had a whole nother day to just kind of rest, and I was definitely taking advantage of the help that I had with Yara. And the day that I was leaving, I felt better, so I came back to Maryland, and shortly after returning, I found out that I had COVID. So, although I was feeling better than what I was in Pittsburgh, I was still dealing with some of those symptoms on top of COVID. And the only reason I knew I had COVID was because I had to get a test to attend a wedding. The symptoms that I just had a little cough and a runny nose, but I just kind of chalked that up as a cold, and yeah, I got tested, found out it was COVID. So Had all those symptoms I was dealing with on top of COVID. And thankfully, my Yara's godfather was here, which was a huge help. Unfortunately for him, he also had to quarantine. But fortunately for me, I was able to get a little bit help with Yara as I was still dealing with like some of the nausea, which was something new, the fatigue, the headaches, and things like that. So super grateful that he was here just to help out, and he was a huge help throughout the entire time that Chris was gone, which was a month, but it was a very crucial month of my first trimester. So I'm super grateful for him. So thankfully, Alana was doing virtual learning at the time. So she just stayed with her dad throughout that duration of virtual learning so that I could recover. And that was helpful also because just had to worry about Yara. Then I had help with her, plus help around the house. So it worked out. We made it. So the main symptoms that I had from about week 8 to week 10 was nausea, headaches, fatigue, and discharge. So for the nausea, what helped me with that? So I had a lot of nausea, but I never threw up, which is a good thing. And I'd seen my midwife at this point, and she recommended trying ginger tablets as well as ginger tea and B6. She also prescribed me some Zofran. She said it's just good to have if you need it. I actually only took one, but didn't really like how I was feeling afterwards, so I never took one again, and was really just relying on the ginger tea for the nausea. So for the headaches, I was taking some Tylenol. Now I tried to avoid medication as best as possible, but when I was in Pittsburgh and I was having that crazy headache and my aunt gave me Tylenol, I'm like, okay, this is another thing I need to have just in case. So I was taking the Tylenol, and I also started drinking a drink called CR7, which is an Herbalife product, and it is a hydration drink, but it has B12 and electrolytes in it. And I started drinking that as like a prevention kind of thing. So I would drink that, first thing in the morning, or I would drink it before I started getting ready to go to bed, because those were the two times that I would experience the headaches the most. And I really started to see a difference. So that also helped. So when it comes to fatigue, I just kind of feel like it is what it is. I mean, I was drinking tea every day, about 1 to 2 cups. And I know people have their opinions on caffeine. The tea I was drinking is called NRG tea, and that's another Herbalife product. And the amount of caffeine is less than a cup of coffee. So I was having that again 1 to 2 times a day. And not only did it help give me a little boost of energy, but it also helps with mental alertness and brain functioning. And the pregnancy brain, it's a real thing. So that was helpful. I did get another yeast infection, and I know they're common in pregnancy, especially for me. Like, I've never had a yeast infection outside of pregnancy. So I did go see a doctor, and I was prescribed medication for it. And yes, I've treated a yeast infection in the past with over-the-counter meds. However, everything says consult a doctor first, so I consulted a doctor, and I got prescribed medication for that. It was a cream because the tablets that you can take for yeast infections, they're not safe during pregnancy. So I got prescribed a cream, but she told me that, if this happens again, you can just use Monistat. So I got the okay from the doctor, but I haven't experienced any more yeast infections since that last one. Discharge is another common symptom in pregnancy. For me, my discharge really started to pick up towards the end of my first trimester. And just make sure you have lots of panty liners. And it's really, for me, it was just really nerve-wracking to experience the discharge, especially after just having a miscarriage, and constantly having discharge. It's just really nerve-wracking, but since going into my second trimester, it has slowed down a lot, thankfully. Some of the food aversions I had food aversion to eggs, I had food aversion to meat being cooked. Like, if I would order some meat or, already had a prepared meal, I'd be fine, but to smell it being cooked just really, really took me out. And also my shakes. You know, I love my Herbalife shakes, and those couple weeks I just could not stomach them. Just thinking about it, I'm like, oh no, I can't do it. But once I got closer to about 10 weeks, I was able to have my shakes again, and the food aversions really just kind of went away at that point. When it comes to cravings, I didn't have any specific cravings, but when I wanted something, like if I wanted a certain type of food or a certain meal, I had to have it. So I was ordering out a lot, and another craving, well, I was just eating a lot of fruit and carby things. So I wanted things like chips and crackers and things with lots of carbs like pastas and breads and things like that. I also had a lot of gas and bloating and constipation, but I was very intentional about making sure I got fiber in my diet. I also was using a lot of the Herbalife digestive products because they are very good with soothing your digestive system and helping to keep you regular. So that helped me tremendously during the first trimester. Also, acne, and I've just been more consistent with my skincare regimen. I have been using the acne line within Herbalife, which I've used in the past, and it's done wonders. So I've just been really working on being more consistent with that. And that's really about it as far as the symptoms go and what I did to help me get through those symptoms. Another thing, I was working out pretty consistently before finding out that I was pregnant and before getting sick for the first time. And then after I started feeling better again, I started working out again. And then we went to Pittsburgh, and that's kind of when I was like, that was like the peak of the morning sickness. And I haven't really been able to pick up working out since then. I've tried to do some light workouts here and there, but I've never really had an active pregnancy, and my goal is to be active during this pregnancy. So the first pregnancy, I wasn't really into working out at all. So I did try to work out once. It felt a little weird, never went back. With my last pregnancy with Yara, I went to the gym early pregnancy, and shortly after coming home from the gym, I started spotting, and I was spotting for a long time, and I just decided like, nope, just working out isn't for me. So I don't know what this pregnancy is going to be like as far as like being active, but I am definitely going to be more intentional about just trying to move my body during this pregnancy. I'm getting a little older, and my goal is to have a natural pregnancy, a natural birth. So I know that being, in shape during that time is definitely going to help with that. And that is my first trimester recap. I hope I hit on all the points. If there is anything else that you would like to know, or if you'd like to know more information about something, just leave me a comment in the comment section. And also, if there's any other videos that you would like to see, or what you would like to see in my next recap video, let me know. So thank you again for watching this video. Again, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.